Hey friends, this is Prokopis from Effective Music Practice, and today we're going to learn how to target the notes of a triad with chromatic approach notes. You can create some very cool and fresh sounds with this concept. So if you're ready to make your guitar soloing more interesting, stay tuned. Also, for some free SFS training, don't forget to grab my free mini course called SFS Fretboard Secrets using the link below. So let's get started. As we discussed in previous videos, chord tone targeting is a melodic device where we target chord tones with surrounding notes, in this case chromatic approach notes. Until now, our target was a single note. It was the root note of the chord in the background harmony. But the root note is not the only stable note that you can target. In fact, all three chord tones that make up a triad are available for chord tone targeting. By the way, don't worry if you don't like theory. This will be a very quick and easy explanation just to get you ready for the main part, which is fun, practical application. Now, almost every piece of music you hear has a melody and some background harmony. Usually we analyze and label that background harmony as chords. These chords are not necessarily played by a guitar though. They can be played by a guitar, but also by a piano or, orchestral instruments sharing the notes of the chord among them. But the point is that each one of these chords is made up of a few specific notes, usually 3 notes. Many times 4, sometimes even more than 4, but chords with 3 notes are the most common and they are called triads. Now, it doesn't matter if you double up some of those notes, they are still just 3 of them. So let's take this very common E minor chord on the guitar, for example. Even though I'm strumming 6 strings, I'm actually only playing 3 different notes, E, G, and B. In this case, they are arranged as E, B, E, G, B, E. But essentially, I only had 3 different notes, E, G, and B. Chord tone targeting is choosing to focus on those chord tones. This can be done within a scale. In that case, you treat the rest of the scale tones as approach notes, always looking to land on and emphasize the chord tones. But that's not what we'll do in this course. That's diatonic approach, using the scale. But this kind of targeting can also be done with chromatic approach notes, even if you don't know the right scale for the song. In fact, for this reason, in my college years, and even a bit later than that, this was my go-to technique to handle harmonically complex tunes. For example, in jazz jam sessions, where sometimes I couldn't immediately figure out the correct mode for each chord in real time, I just thought about triads or 7th arpeggios, which I already knew very well, and made them sound cool by surrounding them with chromatic approach notes. You might say I was faking it, but that's not true. You see, even the most advanced jazz players do use this technique a lot of the time, even if they do know the scales and modes. That's because it sounds great. I still use it too, even though I'm now very comfortable with modes and scales. But I do use this, especially in jazzy or fusion situations where chromatic approach sounds very much within the style of the music. Chromatic approach makes things a lot more spicy and interesting, even though it's easy to apply. So you don't even have to worry about the correct scale. And in many cases, the chords are moving so fast that not dealing with the scale is actually the best way to go, because it's more important to outline the chords. We'll see more about this later. Let's play one position of an A major arpeggio. Don't worry if you don't know any arpeggios, we will learn them very easily using SFS in the following lessons. For now, just look at the diagram and follow me. First, I'll play the plain arpeggio. Now let me repeat that for now I'm showing you this as a box shape because I want to focus on chromatic approaches, but in later lessons we'll forget about box shapes and learn all triad arpeggios using SFS, which also allows us to do this everywhere on the fretboard. Now I'll do it again, but this time I will target every chord tone with one chromatic note below. And now we'll improvise, mixing the pure arpeggio with this one below chromatic approach. Now I'll improvise with another arpeggio, an A minor triad. And now I'll use another chromatic approach, let's say 2 above. And now we'll improvise, mixing this 2 above chromatic approach with the pure arpeggio. Can you see how these chromatic approaches combined with some rhythmic variety can create interesting musical phrases? And we're just using one at a time. Imagine what you can do when you practice 12 different approach configurations on any kind of triad and learn to do this everywhere on the fretboard. That's what I will help you learn in this course. In the next video, I will guide you through playing 6 different approaches over an A major triad, and then you'll be ready to start improvising. And that's where the real fun starts. See you soon. Hey friends, this video is from my new course, SFS Colorful Triads. I will post the next video in this series here in a couple of days. At the time that I'm releasing this, the course is still in development, but if you're a subscriber in the EMP Practice Partner subscription, then you already have access to all the lessons I have already finished. If you're not a subscriber, then I invite you to sign up for my free mini course called SFS Fretboard Secrets. In that course, we learn cool new ways to jump around the fretboard and improve your guitar improvisation skills. There should be a link to sign up somewhere below this video. Thanks for watching. This is Prokopis from EMP, and as I always say, enjoy your practice and be effective.